Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of What No You Explain, the podcast spin-off, one could say, of which I basically say, you know what, screw it, I'm going to foist off some of my work to my friends, comrades, and general good people. So yeah, this is what I'm going to do right now. And right now, I'm going to introduce my guest. She is an absolute delight, a TikTok sensation of which, by and large, you want to know something about tarot? You can follow her. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present T.
Hello, thank you. Yes, I am Tarot Time with T on TikTok. Lots of T's.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, we love alliteration here. And I did entirely space on it because it is very late at night. You are also the host of the Millennial Cast. Again, you want to know millennial things? We can.
From a while ago, but absolutely, we are millennials that just kind of talk about a lot of millennial things that you could also probably relate to.
Oh, absolutely. And I say it again, they're still on the internet. Nothing goes away on the internet.
Ain't that the truth?
Mm-hmm. And also, shoot, you guys were my first podcast on there, even before I had a podcast. So really, you are the reason I'm here. Well, you guys are 50% of the reason I'm here. So long story short, if you don't like this show, you get to blame T.
Yeah, leave a comment. Tell me how awful we are.
Yeah. I'd rather not. You know, that's fine. Let's open that door. Let's open that door. Why don't you? Yeah, let's open that door.
Good press.
Yeah. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
That's how that works, right?
Yeah, absolutely. 100% that's how that works. All right, now that I've potentially opened the door to internet chaos, I feel it's only fair that I get to tell you a story that maybe it's a little more adorable. It's the adorable part of the internet.
I could listen to a story. Let's go.
Oh, thank God. Otherwise, this is just going to be a really boring, 10 minutes for you. It's going to be, cripplingly boring. Okay, so, Christina, I'm going to tell you a story of one of the most famous corporals in the Polish army during World War II. One that served with honor in many theaters. From Iraq all the way to Italy. He was instrumental in making sure the Polish army was well stocked with explosive shells during the Battle of Monte Cassino, lifting boxes that usually would have required multiple men to carry. After World War II ended, he retired to Edinburgh, where he was beloved by many Polish expats who would often bring him gifts. He passed away in 1961, but there are statues commemorating him from Edinburgh to Warsaw. Also, he was a goddamn bear.
Not just the ones we see in nightclubs?
No, not just the one we see in nightclubs.
Oh my God.
Though he did start about that size. He started smaller than your average nightclub bear, and then he grew exponentially larger than your nightclub bear.
Wow, that seems like that would be very difficult to train an entire bear.
It's really be difficult to, I think controversial statement, I think it'd be harder to even train part of a bear. You gotta go all or nothing.
You're right. Okay, not just the left half?
Yeah, I was just going to say, the left half's good, the right half's an asshole.
All right, I keep that in mind. Left half, never mind. Yeah.
All right, this story starts in Hamadan, Iran, where a significant portion of the Polish army was in 1942 after they were been forced to evacuate from the Soviet Union, as well as many refugees. An Iranian kid found a brown bear cub whose mother had been killed by hunters, and decided at this point the best route would be to sell the bear to the Polish soldiers. Again, I was just going to say, people flip houses all the time, why not flip a bear? Given that the Polish soldiers were basically refugees themselves, they refused right up until 18-year-old Irina Bokiewicz. I apologize in advance to any of our Polish listeners. I'm going to butcher all of these names. The great niece of General Boleslaw Winieła Dulowski was very taken with the cub. She prompted Lieutenant Anatol Tarkowski to buy the young bear, and since she was the relative of his general, he dutifully did, and the bear spent the next 3 months in a Polish refugee camp established near Tehran, principally under Irina's care. So again, the lieutenant's kind of the ranking officer around there, so he's just trying to keep shit together, and then, all of a sudden, his general's relative is like, "Can I have it? Can I have it? Can I have it? Okay, fine, you're in charge of it." So, the bear was named Wojtek, a sort of nickname meaning happy warrior, basically a Polish version of slugger.
Hmm.
Given that bear cubs are naturally super adorable, Wojtek generated a lot of attention from the Polish refugees, who fed him fruit, marmalade, honey, and syrup, and was often rewarded with beer, which became his favorite drink. As it does. But alcohol was not Wojtek's only vice. As he got older, he enjoyed smoking and eating cigarettes, and would stick around with the soldiers that gave him said cigarettes. He learned how to salute and walk on his hind legs whenever the soldiers were marching in formation, and was overall a boost in morale that was widely needed. The Polish Second Corps went to various theaters of war over time, from Iraq and then through Syria, Palestine, and Egypt. From Egypt, they got the call to head to Italy alongside the British to try and liberate Italy from Nazi occupation. The British were at first very hesitant to allow Wojtek on board, given that, number one, they had a strict rule against having mascots and pets aboard ships, and number two, Wojtek had gotten a lot bigger. And also, by and large, if you are going to be crammed in a boat with a 500-pound alpha predator, it's a little worrying for you. However, the Polish soldiers weren't about to leave their beloved bear behind. They got around it by officially drafting Wojtek into the Polish army as a private, and he was listed among the soldiers of the 22nd Artillery Company. Now, officially considered just an alarmingly fuzzy quadrupedal soldier, Wojtek boarded the British transport ship and headed to Italy. Couldn't bring the bear aboard, but Private Wojtek? Oh, absolutely. Come on in. So, given that he was now an enlisted soldier, Wojtek bunked with his fellow soldiers and was transported on a specifically created wooden box whenever there needed to be any on-ground transport, because a bear can't necessarily outrun a jeep, rather.
Mm-hmm.
Not for long periods of time, anyways. He ended up proving his worth at the Battle of Monte Cassino, where his unit was in charge of ensuring that the Polish artillery never went without shells to fire. Legend had it that Wojtek actually lifted up several boxes of, 25-pound shells and got them to the guns a lot quicker than any man could. But, there's some dispute to that recollection.
That's amazing.
It's incredible. They may have just loaded some boxes onto the bear and scooted him towards the guns, but, regardless, pretty impressive. Really, just a bear doing anything with artillery is something.
It's a good image.
Mm-hmm. Actually, on that, regardless, after the battle, Wojtek was promoted to corporal for his service, and the 22nd Artillery Supply Company created a new flag for their unit, a bear carrying an artillery shell.
Oh.
So yeah, on a good image. Oh yeah, they agreed.
Wow.
And after the end of World War II, Wojtek's unit was transferred to Scotland, where they stayed until 1947, because, Poland at the end of World War II was in a bit of a state. And the bear became something of a tourist attraction, as well as a point of local interest. I mean, it's a cigarette-eating, beer-drinking, very friendly bear, and there wasn't any internet at the time. So, come on. I was just going to say, if there was a cigarette-eating bear one town over and your internet was out, isn't that worth a family expedition?
Yeah, if you can't look at pictures of cats online, go look at a bear.
Yes! Oh, I like that. Again, when demobilization occurred, when all the guns went down, the Polish soldiers headed home and Wojtek was given to the Edinburgh Zoo. Because, again, they weren't bringing the bear back. So there he enjoyed the rest of his days, being frequently visited by journalists and Polish expats who ended up sometimes feeding him cigarettes, which he happily devoured.
Oh, that's sweet.
Oh, absolutely. And he perked up at the sound of Polish, like the Polish language. Like, he was just like, oh shit, friend.
Wow.
Yeah, and in the late 50s, he was even a frequent guest on a British children's show called Blue Peter, because, again, friendly bear. Assumingly probably not giving him cigarettes after that. But he passed away in 1961, and he was widely remembered in the Polish community in Edinburgh. Like, there are statues all over the place of this bear.
That is amazing. I have seen imagery of a bear, but I had no idea what it meant. I just assumed it was, you think of Canada, you think of, I don't know, a moose, same type of thing.
Oh, yeah, Poland bear. Why not? No, I would say that was one of these things of, that was this is one of the ones I was really sad I couldn't stretch into a full episode. Like, super sad.
It's so cool. So do you think people from his unit or whoever he was with when he
Mhm.
served would come and visit him afterwards.
Oh,
A
absolutely.
lot.
Like, I would say just
That's
a lot
so
of, like,
nice.
oh yeah, a lot of his old unit. It was like, again, would come in, talk to him in Polish, sneak some beer into him, chuck him a pack of cigarettes. Absolutely.
That's oddly wholesome for beer and cigarettes.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Again, it's a wartime habit he picked up, and it happens.
It does, apparently, especially if you're fuzzy and a bear.
Oh, I was saying their cigarettes were probably a little bit more available than fresh fish.
Yeah. Yeah, good point. A little less gross. Carry them in
Yeah,
your pocket.
it's true. It's true. I was saying it's very difficult to trade something. Well, basically, it's difficult to trade anything for fish in a war zone. But cigarettes,
Yeah, probably.
cigarettes, absolutely.
When you started talking about a bear, I just assumed that this was going to be the origin story for Winnie the Pooh. Very different.
You know, that's a fair assumption. And now that it's in the public domain, that may be a thing again.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, I have monopolized some time. Christina, I hear you've got a story. And by I hear, I mean I've extensively briefed you on this.
Yeah. All right. So I've learned something recently when I've been going about my regular life. This isn't a story so much outside of myself as something that I've kind of put into practice. So I've been doing good lately, but I've been pretty sick. So I'm trying to do a lot of natural remedies, a lot of kind of crunchy granola, weird, maybe even a little woo-woo stuff.
Okay.
I'm trying to grow some plants lately and things that are just good for your system, things that are supposed to be able to heal you from the inside out type thing. And I'm trying to keep the plants alive, but sometimes it doesn't always completely work. So it sort of feels like every once in a while I'm just sort of sending them to the electric chair. I feel so bad about it. But what if I were to tell you that if you did send a plant to the electric chair, it might actually live better?
That is, if I may, what? Explain.
All right, don't mind if I do. So there's permaculture, where we grow plants. There's electroculture, where we electrify plants. And they can actually grow so much bigger and better and sustain themselves for a lot longer. Isn't that amazing?
That's incredible. Like, just go, please. My God.
So a lot of this information has been lost to us over time, which is absolutely fair. I don't think a lot of us have really heard about electrocuting plants. So Justin Christoflo is the inventor of this back in the 1700s. And he has an entire book on it that is on Amazon if anybody is interested. So what he did was he created a lot of machinery to actually put electrical currents into the ground. But what we can do at home is actually something very simple with copper wire. So we take copper wire and you wrap it in a spiral and then you stick it in the ground.
Okay.
And a lot of this does seem like it's a bit of pseudoscience. And you can kind of take it as you will because there hasn't been a ton of research on it. But there's a lot of anecdotal evidence saying that this can actually, let me get my facts here.
I'm solidly intrigued.
It's between, and again, generally, 70 to 100% reduction in pesticide usage. It does also potentially kill beneficial bugs, so that's a kind of a give and take. But a 20 to 30% decrease in the fertilizer used too.
Ooh.
Yes. So how people think that this works, and it has been studied, but not hugely. So kind of take it as you will. But high voltage basically just suppresses the surface tension on leaves and accelerates evaporation. So instead of holding all of their water in their leaves, it evaporates, which you think would be a bad thing. But this causes the plants to get thirstier and just to suck up all the nutrients and the water from the earth, and therefore actually creating a lot more nutrient absorption in the plants too. So not only are they getting more water, they're getting more nutrients, so they can grow quicker and up to apparently 2 to 3 times their original expected size.
Okay, so almost an electric sauna for the plant a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah. There's also a theory that it's basically a mild electric field, and this tricks the plants into thinking that there could perhaps be a thunderstorm approaching, but they're almost in this constant state of expecting a thunderstorm, so they are stimulated to make the best use of a downpour, potentially. So they suck in a whole bunch of water, and what do you do with that water once it's in you? You have to photosynthesize it and create more leaves, and it creates these amazing, big, beautiful plants. So you can do this in a lot of different ways. There's an entire hectare that some of the Chinese are using right now to get an entire greenhouse electrically stimulated, and they're using solar power to do so. But at home, we can literally just wrap a copper wire, potentially even around any stick, and stick it in your soil. And that is enough, apparently, to get the ambient electrical currents, I guess, from the air into the soil and have your plants thrive.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because there's sort of a conspiracy theory a little bit where this information was kind of withheld from us. I went into a bit of a deep dive on the internet.
No, absolutely.
And it's been hidden from us on purpose. Can you guess why?
Big pesticide?
Yes, big pesticide.
Boom.
Exactly. Yeah, pesticides, fertilizers. There's a million, well, more than a million. There's so many people every single year that get pesticides. You probably have Roundup in your garage. Everybody does, because we hate dandelions, which are incredibly beneficial. We hate nettles, so many things that are actually really good for us, but I digress. So what I did find out, again, this is anecdotal on the internet, but there was a study of U.S. men, and 80% of people that were tested actually had what's called, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, glycinate in their urine. Okay. And that's the main chemical ingredient in Roundup, and it's a carcinogen. Inside of their bodies from literally only using Roundup, or potentially not using Roundup, because how many people do you know that garden? Me, probably only half the people I know do, even less. So for 80% of the population that they did the study on to have it, that's wild.
Because, I mean, everybody's walking by a garden or there's an aggressive amount of lawns around where I am anyways.
Yeah, and I'm assuming it's probably just eating a lot of the stuff that you get from the store. Because organic is kind of considered a little bougie, and like, why would I do that? But I'm learning, and maybe this is the reason. Yeah, it's just so interesting, and a lot of people use quartz with this too.
Okay.
Which I didn't realize, but do you know that quartz is used in a lot of electronics? You know, like a quartz watch and things like that.
I would say,
you've probably heard of it. So apparently you can add quartz to the wire wrapping, because when quartz is compressed, so you do it tightly, then it actually generates a slight charge or voltage on its surface. And it is often used in electronics for this way to kind of help it up in its upkeep. So to put it literally, a lot of people just stick them into the ground beside their plants and see how that goes. But it doesn't work apparently as well as this copper. Very cool.
Okay.
So I do have one tiny little tidbit also, just about plants. Did you know that there was a study that was just published that proves plants make sounds?
Oh my God, yes. I would say I have heard about this. Please tell.
It's at a frequency that we cannot hear. And when they are doing bad or dying, they produce a lot more sound than the healthy plants. Like, they are screaming.
Oh, no.
And I am so curious what the science is if they were mildly being electrocuted. Would they be screaming in pain or perhaps pleasure?
Yep.
I'm very curious.
I would say, will this be a journey of self-discovery for these plants? Where it's like, oh, little mild voltage? Oh, yes, please.
Oh, yes.
Okay, first of all, thank you so much for sharing that, T. I had no idea about any of this, so I have questions. First of all, I would say just kind of around the copper wiring, around the stick. Have you done this before?
You know what? I haven't, but I am so jazzed to start because I have just found out about this and I was so excited to bring it to your attention immediately because I also know that your girlfriend really enjoys herself some little plant babies.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely she does. She is the green thumb in this relationship, and I just basically desperately try not to kill anything, which honestly, with the confirmation that plants do scream and feel pain,
Isn't that a lot?
I'm just going to say again, I'm feeling morally justified with all of my fake plants.
Oh, you have fake plants, so you don't need any of this.
Used to.
Ah,
It's difficult to kill a fake plant. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's difficult.
difficult. Yeah.
All right, and second, I would say kind of, again, this is going to go a little bit further, but bear with me. I just keep on thinking of just like, okay, if you just put like one of these sort of like copper stakes like right in the middle of a field, would there be like okay, cool, everything within like 6 inches of it grows a lot better?
Okay, I did not think of this, and there is a field pretty much outside of my house, so you better believe that I'm going to do that. But I would assume so, yes, because again, anecdotally, but when I see people do this in their gardens, they have big planters. And in every single planter, there was amazing growth, there was
Mhm.
beautiful foliage, but there was not any insects eating through the plant leaves.
Mhm.
So they would always have a control box where they wouldn't do this, and there would be so many little leaves that were the exact same type of plant planted at the exact same time.
Mhm.
So I would assume that it has a radius of, I don't know, maybe like half a regular garden.
Okay. No, that's incredible.
But the more you get, whatever you can do at home.
No, absolutely. So long story short, if you're going to do this, stock up on copper.
Yeah, people get fancy with magnets and batteries and all kinds of stuff, but I haven't really looked into that extensively yet, but I'm definitely going to.
Report back, because now I'm, just even as a person, I'm morbidly curious now myself.
Yeah,
Just
next
like,
time you
what-
buy a plant, you can ask if it comes with batteries.
Batteries not included. I'm
Yeah.
almost positive. Be nice. Say, actually, hold on. No, I get some of my, I would say there is definitely a plant center at the Home Depot near my house. I could definitely make that a same trip. 100%.
That's what I
not
was
even a
thinking. I
question.
might take a
Yeah.
trip this weekend.
Do it up.
Mhm.
Get your plants and your batteries too.
Yep. My copper wire.
Ooh, really? Home Depot needs to sponsor me now. I think if I've learned anything about this, Home Depot needs to sponsor me now. Everybody's
yeah.
going for mattresses. I was just going to say delivery services. No, Home Depot. That's where I'm.
Yeah.
That is where I'm planting my flag.
Yeah,
Home
give 'em a
Depot.
call.
Home Depot, if you're listening to this right now, please.
Help me.
I have a child on the way. All right. Well, that's, first of all, incredible. Thank you so much, T. I would say we've each told each other stories. So now I need to ask you a question. It's a question I've asked a few guests, but, gotta ask everyone. How's your bullshit meter?
Like a 6.5 out of 10.
I would say thank you for saying out of 10, because that was going to be my immediate fall. If it was like a 6.5 out of 10, out of 100,
Out of 100.
out of 5, and you
Yeah.
have an incredible, out of 5, and you have like an incredibly good one. Like just sort
I'm
of,
very gullible, so if somebody tells me something, I will immediately believe them. But if I know to be looking for something, we'll see.
Okay. I think you may know where I'm going with this next one.
Potentially.
Potentially, again, not that I've explained this to you at all, but all right. Christina, if you're willing, we are going to play some Two Truths and a Lie.
Ooh, a game.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, I can't bring you a fruit basket, so this is sort of what I do with guests. This is like great.
Yay.
I would say this is what I do. I don't give you food. I make you work, and then I lie to you.
Perfect. Great.
Also, still looking for guests for season 4 and 5 if you're interested. Actually. All right. So, I would say kind of the way we're going to do this one, T, is I've got 5 different categories in here. We're kind of going to pick 3 of them. I've got 3 statements in each of them, and you get 2 of them are true, and we're kind of things I tried to make into an episode, but didn't really have much more than, that's interesting.
Okay.
And one of them is artisanally crafted bullshit.
Oh, perfect. Just for me.
Absolutely. Now, I would say again, never let it be said that I don't treat the guests properly. It's artisanally
Yeah.
crafted bullshit. This is not your store-bought bullshit. This is
feel so
crafted.
fancy.
Exactly.
Wow.
So I would say the five categories that you have to choose from are otters. Put an exclamation mark in there, so it's got to be otters.
Okay.
Number 2, well, that name is ruined. Number 3, the master of ill timing. Number 4, it's a living. And number 5, sun, sand, and maniacs. Any of these speaking to you?
Yep. I want 2, 3, and 5.
2, 3, and 5, in that order.
Sure.
Hey, listen, it's up to you, man. You're the guest. All right, in that order. So, number 2, well, that name is ruined. These are, as you might have gathered, 3 statements about incredibly unfortunate names. Statement number 1. In a spectacular case of the context of names and words changing over time, there was a very well-known practicing dentist in the 20th century in Circleville, Ohio, named Gay Hitler.
Sorry, okay.
Oh, no. This is where this started. He lived almost his entire life in the Circleville area, where the Hitlers were town staples, with their roots going back to 1799. He practiced for over 40 years and passed away in 1945.
Okay.
There are no less than 3 different areas of Circleville named after the Hitlers, including Hitler Road, Hitler Cemetery, and Hitler Park.
Wow.
That is statement number 1.
Good name being ruined. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Number 2. In one of the more northern parts of Canada, there is a town called Swastika, Ontario. Incorporated in 1908, it was named after the Sanskrit good luck symbol, swastika.
Right.
During the Second World War, the Ontario provincial government removed the swastika sign from the sound entrance and attempted to rename the town Winston, ostensibly after Winston Churchill.
Oh.
The next day, the townspeople took the Winston sign down and replaced the swastika sign with the message, "To hell with Hitler, we came up with our name first."
I love this. I hope it's real. That's great.
Number 3. In the city of Zurich, Switzerland, there is a significant Austrian-German presence throughout its existence, given the proximity of both countries, to the extent that little Germanys were created in different sections of town. Basically, for all intents and purposes, Chinatown, but in German. Where they set up primarily German-language schools named after famed Germans. One of the unfortunate side effects of this was during World War II, where the Institute auf dem Himmler was given criticism by the Swiss press, despite the government's strict adherence to neutrality. Himmler being the guy who created the concentration camps.
Oh my gosh.
The school's administration caved and renamed the school in 1943.
Wow. So he was really just trying to get those kids to concentrate really hard at school.
Oh, man. That, I was just saying, I think I need to gently sip a thing of water after that, because it's a good thing I wasn't sipping water when you said that, because otherwise that would have just blown straight through my computer screen.
I know, that was very distasteful. Okay. So you really went with a theme here.
Yeah, I was just saying a little bit. I would say, is that a thundercloud forming over there?
Yeah, probably. Wow, okay.
So, I would just say, which one is the lie, T? Hitler Park, Swastika, Ontario, or the Institute auf dem Himmler?
So I know that there were a lot of things that had to change their names or symbols from a swastika. Like there was a hockey team also, I think, in Canada that had to change that. So that does make sense.
Ooh. Now I'm curious. Sure. I would say that's now a thing I'm looking up after this.
Yeah, I think it was their symbol because it was a symbol of good luck. So, but the last one is a little bit too perfect. I feel like it's very coincidental.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think I believe the first one. I think I have to go with the second one as a lie.
All right, the second one's the lie?
Yes.
Unfortunately, you are incorrect. There is indeed a Swastika, Ontario.
Wow.
It is so far. It is quite a distance away from where I live. Otherwise, it's got to be a curiosity-based road trip more than anything.
Yeah, really. How do the people that live there now feel?
Oh, I think probably it's just like, nah, screw it. To hell with Hitler. We came up with our name first.
Man.
It's probably just been for all intents and purposes, just cemented by history now. But yeah, I would say the Institute auf dem Himmler, complete and utter fabrication.
Ah, yes, it was too perfect.
It was too perfect.
It was pretty funny.
I was just going to say, I won't lie to you, that was an hour of my life trying to figure out what school in Switzerland that I could just like steal a name from.
It was pretty good, yeah.
Don't know a lot of German. Nope. All right. So I would say, T, you got 2 more opportunities to go on the board.
Okay.
And you were going with number 3 and number 5. So we are going with the master of ill timing. This is, all right, this is a very specific one, but I think you might like it. Nick Castellanos is a right fielder for the Philadelphia Phillies. By all accounts, he's an excellent player, being named to the MLB All-Star team in 2021 and hitting 181 home runs and 656 runs batted in his career so far. This isn't why we're talking about him, though. He also has something of a spectacular case of timing when it comes to hits and home runs during broadcasts. I'll give you 3 things Castellanos might have interrupted with a hit or a home run, and you tell me which one was the lie. Statement number 1. Nick Castellanos hit a bases-loaded grand slam right in the middle of a broadcast tribute to September 11th, 2001. TSN announcer Kevin Barker was in the middle of a tribute to those who had died on September 11th when Castellanos smashed a ball on an 0-2 count to bring the Cincinnati Reds ahead in Game 2 of the series.
Wow.
That's statement number 1.
Okay.
Statement number 2. Nick Castellanos hit a home run right in the middle of an apology by Tom Brenneman, the Cincinnati Reds broadcaster who had just been caught on a hot mic saying a homophobic slur.
Oh.
Right before he was replaced on air, Brenneman was attempting to apologize to all those who were hurt by the slur, but he had to stop in the middle in order to call Castellanos' home run. He continued on right after and then was promptly replaced.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Number 3. Castellanos' first hit with the Philadelphia Phillies was during spring training for the 2022 baseball season, where he hit a single against the Toronto Blue Jays that was right in the middle of Blue Jays analyst Buck Martinez reading an apology from Blue Jays pitching coach Pete Walker, who had just been arrested for driving under the influence.
I don't like any of these. These are all just terrible things.
The Castellanos curse is real, man.
Okay, let's see.
And his wife hates it.
I think it's the 3rd one.
You think the 3rd's the lie?
I believe so.
Any particular thought, or again, it just doesn't sound right?
Well, because there's 2 that were fairly similar, so I'm assuming I have to pick one of those. It was interrupted during kind of an apology broadcast, so I hope so. I just hope it's not the first one. My goodness.
You think that? I would say, hold on. I would say.
Oh no! Wait, I would hope it was the first one.
I was just going to say you're hoping.
Sorry.
It's. I would say you're trying to pick the lie here.
Yeah.
All right. So to confirm, which one of them are you thinking is the lie?
The 3rd one still.
You think the 3rd one is the lie? All right. We are going to lock that in, and unfortunately, you are 0 for 2. Unlike Nick Castellanos, who is terrifyingly good at this. No, I was just going to say it might make you feel slightly better. Just like, no, he didn't hit a bases-loaded home run in the middle of a World Trade Center tribute. He didn't.
Okay.
That's the one thing he hasn't done yet.
Okay, but the last 2 are so like, all right. But I am glad he didn't do that. That's at least something.
I won't lie to you. I was just going to say the Tom Brenneman one. It's spectacular, and honestly, I think I might send the YouTube video of it to you just because it's just. If you like things that are cripplingly cringeworthy, that's your one. I
do get secondhand cringe very hard, but I think I'd still enjoy this, and I would enjoy watching.
All right. And number 3, I would say number 3, Sun, Sand, History, and Maniacs. I forgot to say history, but Sun Sanded Maniac still works. These are
Okay.
all truths and lies, 2 truths and 1 lies based on ancient Greece. Number 1. Theagenes of Thasos was one of the first sports stars in the ancient Greek world. He was so spectacular at every sport he played, it was widely rumored that he was actually the son of Heracles himself. Hercules, but, Greek. As a result, there were many statues created in his honor. One day, one of his opponents had just about fucking enough of Theagenes. So in a fit of rage, he attacked one of the statues of Theagenes nearby. Unfortunately, this weakened the statue enough that it fell down and killed the man. The Thasians, I would say kind of the people in the area, found the man dead by the statue and did the only thing they could. Tried and convicted the statue for murder. They executed the sentence by throwing the statue in the ocean.
Okay.
Statement number 2. Philosophers and thinkers were considered very highly in Athenian life for their outside-the-box thinking. They were so valued that it was the duty of any good Athenian to make sure that each of these philosophers would be at their tip-top best state for thinking. How did they do this, you ask? They got them absolutely plastered. It was an honor for the highest echelons of Athenian society to have a philosopher pass out in your salon, as it showed that you were the host that they considered the greatest, worthy of passing out on their couch. That's one of these things where I'm kind of a little bit grateful that does not continue to this day.
I feel like there's probably a lot of armchair philosophers who probably pass out drunk, but maybe not that are highly looked up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm not seeking out philosophers to pass out on my couch.
Yeah.
I'm not that starved for interaction, says the guy on the podcast. Anyways.
Yeah.
Number 3. The Spartans never actually built a city wall, figuring that the reputation alone would mean that nobody would attack them. But during the Persian War, the Persians, who had already at this point burned down Athens twice, hired a Greek guard to take them to Sparta. But when they got there, they saw a much less impressive-looking city than Athens without a single wall surrounding it. The Persians figured that there was no way this city could have been the mighty Sparta everyone was talking about. Therefore, they figured their guide was lying to them, killed the guide, and Sparta was spared being burned to the ground.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Which one is the lie? The murdery statue, drunk philosophers, or Sparta being spared by the fact that, they don't have a wall. This couldn't be them.
So I'm pretty sure the drunk philosophers is real. I swear I remember something like that from my art college days.
Oh my God, were you a drunk philosopher?
Not me personally, but I definitely learned about a lot of the paintings of philosophers, and I'm pretty sure they were drunk a lot of the time. So we have statue murder, and we have potentially not burning down an entire city and just killing one guy. I'm going to go with the last one because I love the statue murder. I hope that's true. So I think the last one is the lie.
Well, I have good news and I have bad news.
Okay.
The good news is I would say the statue is true. And even better, the Oracle of Delphi prophesies that Thasos would be barren until they brought the statue back. So they fucking fished it out of the water and brought it back to its original place.
Wow. That's commitment.
However, I would say you were incorrect about the lie.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I was just going to say, philosophers were not getting things of wine chucked at them at any given point. Yeah.
That's fair.
In fact, quite the opposite. Usually they end up either executed or in a drunk tank, depending on who they pissed off at any given point.
All right, so there's a little bit of drinking involved, potentially.
Oh, absolutely. I was just going to say, Diogenes was shittered out of his mind, but he's also had enough followers that he was not executed as quickly as he could have been. Anyways. Okay,
that's fair. Man, I did not do great this time.
Listen, really it is all good. I had it. Listen, it's artisanal bullshit, man. It needs to blend in. It needs to blend in. It needs to blend in.
Yeah, I thought my meter was right up there, but I guess the 6.5 is still pretty low.
6.5 is not bad. It's also pretty late for you, too. All right. Yeah, I was just going to say, it is pretty late for where we're recording. Just no matter where you're listening to this right now, it's probably not quite as late as it is for us recording.
I'm going to go to bed right away.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I unfortunately am not. But,
Okay, well.
all right, I was just going to say, so you enjoy that. So I would say I won't keep you too long then. First of all, T, thank you so much for taking it. Do you have anything you want to promote, anything you want to plug?
Not right now. I'm barely back on TikTok after having the baby, and that just takes up most of my time. So,
Yeah, that's
nope.
fair.
I'm just enjoying being here and chatting.
No, please, absolutely. That's absolutely fair. I would say we're glad to have you, and I'd say it's probably safe to say that we are going to have you back again for a thing that will be announced later.
Wow. Look forward to the announcement, as does everybody else listening, I'm sure.
Oh, fingers crossed. Otherwise, you know what? I'd be curious to know if anyone hate listens to this podcast. If anyone hate listens to this podcast and just religiously downloads each and every one of them to just, fuck that guy. Next episode. Oh, fuck that guy.
Yeah, they're just sending thoughts to you every time. Like, this one will get him. He's gonna trip. We know it.
Yeah, yeah, this guy. Oh, that voice. I hate him. Download.
Download.
Also, if you're enjoying the content but are hating my voice, this seems an excellent time to mention that the transcripts are available if you join up on the $5 tier on Patreon.
Very nice. Yeah.
I have my moments. But anyways, thank you so much, T, for joining us, and have a good night, everybody.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was amazing, and I will talk to you soon.
Oh, absolutely. Bye, everybody.
Bye.